Hey everybody, and welcome back to Crafting Made Easy. For this video, we will be doing the glitter ink pens. If you're interested in seeing that video, stand by. So the items you'll need for this project will include these Inkjoy pens. So I purchased these from Walmart. You'll need some glitter. I will be using the regular epoxy, and then I'll be doing one with UV resin just to see what the difference is. You'll also need some sandpaper and a turner. So if you don't have a turner, you can manually turn your ink pens, but you just have to kind of keep an eye on it. And then I'll be putting a vinyl decal on the pen as well. That is all I think that I'll need for this project. If there is anything that I am missing, I will put it down in the description box below. Alright, so the first thing you'll do is you'll take your pens out of the packaging. These pens are the ones everyone is using because they are refillable. So you can use your fillable ink pens to put in here, or ink cartridges I should say, to put in here. Then you'll go ahead and open it up and you'll remove everything that's inside. So just kind of keep a look on how it is put together. So the spring is on top of the pen. This is there. So just kind of leave it the way it was and then get the bottom part out. So keep all of that intact. So I'm just going to move that in front of me. And then you'll pop this part off. So you'll end up popping this part off. Just kind of watch where it pops off to. Do it kind of away from your face. If you have any goggles or anything, glasses or something, kind of put those on because you don't want it to pop in your face as you're breaking it. And I just have some pliers, some needle nose pliers to kind of break it, or jewelry pliers. I'm just trying to get as much off of it as I can. Without breaking the pen. So you'll just kind of maneuver that to where you can get it all off. See, I took it all off. And then what you'll do is you'll basically just sand the rest of it. I purchased sandpaper from the dollar store. So this is P150. I'm going to try to take the other piece off with an X-Acto knife. Kind of get it. Be very, very careful with the X-Acto knife. Do not cut your fingers. But try to get it where that part is flat. I'm trying to make sure it's in the camera but not cut my finger at the same time. So just be really careful. All right, there we go. Boom. All right. Okay, good. So there you go. You see how it's nice and flat now. All right, so you want to break it off as much as you can and then take the X-Acto knife to kind of get the rest of the plastic off. And then you're going to sandpaper the pen so it is rough, because you want your epoxy to have something to hold on to. And you want to get all of the edges and everything like that as well. That's kind of rough. All right. So you want your pen to kind of look rough. And this is giving the epoxy something to hold on to. And you don't have to use a lot of epoxy to hold your glitter on, but you'll need enough to cover the pen and to cover the for the glitter to hold. All right, so I did say I'm gonna do it 2 different ways. So I'm gonna use UV resin, and then I'm gonna use regular epoxy. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep another pen. I might just prep all 4 of them, and then I will be back, okay? Sandpaper them, you just want to clean them off. I'm just wiping them off with an alcohol wipe, so you can wash them off with soap and water, some Dawn soap. I'm just wiping them down with a alcohol wipe because that should be sufficient enough. Just don't leave like any dust or anything on there because it will get caught in your epoxy, or if you're going to do UV resin, it will get caught in that. So just be careful with whatever you're wiping it down with. But you want to get the sawdust off of your pens. So I went ahead and wiped it down. So once that is all done, and I did forget to mention that you'll need some pencils, or you can use the what are they, like the shish kebab skewers. You can use those, or the dowels. You can use something to fit your pen inside. So you'll go in the top part where the ink will come from, and you'll just put a pencil or something in there because you want something to hold your pen up. So you'll just do that for all of them. And I just got some pencils because that was what I had on hand, and it fits better in the part where you would screw the pen onto, other than where you would put the clicker at. All right, so that's that. Move these inserts out of the way. All right, and so then you'll get your turner. So I'm going to actually move y'all to to the area where my turner is, and then I'll be right back. Okay, hopefully this is a good angle. So I'm gonna do the regular epoxy ones first. So I just mixed up some epoxy. You don't have to mix up that much epoxy for the pens because you're not going to put a lot on there. But you're going to just dip your finger in, and you're just going to rub some on there. Just enough to catch the glitter. And okay, I can pop that top up. Okay. So you just want to put a little bit on there as such. And you just want to make sure you got all sides of your pen. All right. And then you're just going to take whatever glitter you have, pop your top up, and then you're just going to sprinkle your glitter on your pen. Now, some people do spray paint the pens for extra coverage so they don't have to use as much glitter. I did not spray paint my pens, so I'm probably going to have to use more glitter than what I would want. But if you're if you want to get a lot of coverage but not use a lot of glitter. Spray paint your pens whatever color you want to. So there we go. And this is Sea Diamonds, and I still don't know where I purchased this from because I purchased it a while ago. And make sure you get the edges of your pen and the bottom. Alright, so I'll probably have to put another coat on here. Alright, so then you'll take your pen and you'll tape it to your turner. So, alright, because I have epoxy on that finger. Alright, so I'm just gonna sit my pen up for a second. While I take this glove off. Or matter of fact, never mind, because it's not cooperating the way I envisioned it. So I'm just going to, and if you have like the little finger condoms, you can just use that. You don't have to use the whole glove. I had some. I don't know what I did with them, but I'm just using a whole glove. So you're just going to tape the pen to your turner. Lord. I'm trying to get it all the way around without, let me move this glitter out the way. Alright. So you don't need any type of extension or anything like that. You could just use masking tape as I'm using right now, or you can use painter's tape. And I actually hit it with my arm, so I'm gonna have to sprinkle some more glitter right there. Let me try to put this glove back on. So I do not turn your turner on, and then they'll just turn. And I just want to make sure it doesn't touch the bottom. Okay, awesome. So you see it's just turning. So I'll secure it more when I put the other pens on there, but I just wanted to put that one up there for right now. And that's all you'll pretty much do, is you'll just glitter your pen however you want it glittered, and then you'll tape it to your turner if you don't have like a extender or anything like that. I have seen people use an extension and put a dowel and all this other fancy stuff, but I'm just using what I have on hand, and I'm just taping the pen with the pencil part to the turner and just allowing it to turn. You just want to make sure that your pencil slash pen does not hit the bottom when it's going underneath. You see how it looks like it's close to the bottom, but it's not touching. So I'm gonna go ahead and prep the other ones, tape them to there, and then we'll go to the UV resin one. So I'm going to try the UV resin. So I haven't seen anyone try doing it with UV resin, so I want to see how it looks. Again, I did not spray paint this, so it's just regular black. I'm just going to put a little UV resin on there, about the same amount of regular epoxy that I put on the pens. And just want to smooth it out. And you want to make sure the UV resin is smoothed out because it will not go on the turner and is not self-leveling. You want to make sure it's smoothed out, otherwise you'll have bumps and lumps in your glitter. Alright, so I'm just thinning it out. Alright, so that's nice and thin, and then I'm going to go ahead and take this top off the glitter. Alright, and see, it got lumpy when I moved it. So I'm just going to turn it. Apply the glitter. So basically all the steps are the same except for you're using UV resin versus epoxy. Alright, and then I'm just going to get my UV lamp. Just look at it, make sure I got it all. Alright, and then I'm just going to get my UV lamp, and I'm just going to turn it while I'm holding it over top of the UV lamp. Holding the UV lamp over top of the pen. Let me just show you. And I'm just turning the pen. And I'm going to keep this under here for about 4 minutes, just turning it so it gets every side. Let me get that out of this cord, I swear. Alright. And I'm just going to turn it for about 4 minutes so it can cure. And then I'll be back. Alright, so it's back and it is nice and hardened. I'm going to add another coat on here just because I can still see the black pen through the blue. I mean, it doesn't look bad. It just looks like it's blue-black pen, but I'm just going to add another coat on here. So I'm just going to put some more UV resin on there. Same way I did before. A nice thin coat. Alright, so this is the pen. It is nice and hard. That's pretty in the camera. Alright, so, but it's kind of bumpy. So what you want to do is you just want to kind of gently sand it down. And you can wet the sandpaper, but you want to sand it down. Alright, so it's nice and wiped down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put a nice thick coating on there. So I want it nice and thick, but still smooth, but nice and thick. This underneath the UV lamp again, and I'll be back. Alright, so the pen is pretty much done. It's nice and smooth. It's still kind of sticky because it can't rest underneath the UV lamp like I want it to. So what I'm going to do is put it up in front of the window, and then it'll cure by the natural sun tomorrow. But it's pretty much done. The pen is done, but like I said, it's sticky because I have to hold it like this to you know, cure it and harden it, so I can't put the aluminum foil over it, and it can't really sit there underneath the UV lamp. So I'm just going to sit it in front of the window and let it rest. So by the time the ones on the turner are done spinning, this one should be completely cured and everything like that. But the pen is basically done. All it needs is now a decal if I wanted to put a decal on there, or just the inserts put into the pen. Alright, so these pens are dry. They have cured. I did put a second coat of glitter on them with some epoxy, with some fast setting epoxy. So now all I'm doing is sanding them down the same way I did the UV resin pencil or pen. And yeah, so I'm gonna sand them down. And once I sand them down, you can put a decal on them if you want to at that point, but I think I'm going to just sand it down, put another coat of epoxy on it, let them spin, dry until cured, and then I will put the decal on. Alright everybody, so it's been a couple of days. I ended up putting these three pens on the turner because they had epoxy on them, and as you saw really quickly, I just pulled it right off the pencil. It did not stick or anything like that. These ones, what I ended up doing is putting one coat of epoxy on there, putting the glitter on, which you saw in the camera or on the video, and then I let it turn overnight, and then the next day I put another coat of epoxy and another coat of glitter on there because it was still like you can see the black pen underneath. And then I let that turn. I use what is called a quick coat. So this is a quick coat. It comes in, they have one, I've seen a quick coat that is only one bottle, but this one actually comes in two, so you mix it like epoxy. And I just put that with another coat of glitter on there, let that turn, and then I sanded it down and then put a final coat of epoxy on there. So this is 3 layers of epoxy on these pens. The thing about doing the epoxy method is that you have to let it cure. You have to let it spin on a turner, and you have to let it cure for at least 6 to 8 hours before you can go to the next step. Now, if you use like a quick coat, that takes about 2 to 4 hours, but you still have to wait a length of time before you can, you know, go to the next step. This one is the UV resin pen. And all I did was put a thin layer of UV resin on there, as you saw on the video, put some glitter on there, put it underneath the lamp to cure. Then I put another thin coat of UV resin, put glitter on there, put it underneath the UV lamp to cure, and I believe I sanded it down. Then put another thin coat of UV resin on there after I sanded it down to get all the lumps and bumps of the glitter out. And then I put it underneath the lamp, and I let it sit overnight, just you know, just letting it sit because it was kind of sticky. But later I just kind of put it underneath the UV lamp and just turned it. You can leave it under there for about 5-10 minutes and it'll cure, and it's fine, and that's it. So so probably 30 minutes for one pen with the UV resin compared to the epoxy pens that you have to let turn on a turner. And then if you didn't sand it down all the way and it's still lumpy, like this one right here is still kind of bumpy a little bit. I'm not sure if you can see it, but like right here is still a little rough. So I would have to sand that down again, put another thing of epoxy on there. It's a lot of steps with the epoxy. I like the UV resin, and you really can't tell any difference. This is really smooth. The shine is, I think to me it's better than the regular epoxy ones. So I like the shine better on this one than I do on the epoxy ones. But let's go ahead and decal that. I just wanted to get that out the way just to give you like a comparison to the UV resin and the epoxy ink pens. But I'm gonna go ahead and put a decal on this, I believe, yeah. And I apologize for my fingers. I'm working on another project and I'm using spray paint, so my fingers are a little discolored right now. Right, and for the decal, I will leave the measurements in the description box. Alright, so while the other 2 pens are underneath the UV lamp for another 5 to 10 minutes, I'm just going to go ahead and put these 2 together. I'm not going to put a decal or anything on these ones because this one has like a little spot right there. So I'm just going to basically just assemble them. So you just put it back together the way you took it apart. Drop that back down in there. That one next. There we go. And just pop that back in there as such. And my pen getting stuck. Alright, so if you have that issue, that means that the area around it must have got some epoxy in there. So just kind of take an X-Acto knife and go around it and just clean the inside up. So it's real easy, just go around it. I got a lot in there, I didn't even realize it. I was busy trying to get it not to go in the top part. I didn't even see it went in the bottom. Uh-oh. Alright, let's try. Oops, let's try it again. Okay, that one slid in there better. Just put it back. There we go. There we go. So you just clean the inside. All right, I'm glad that kind of happened. And if you want to, you can spray paint the tip and put glitter on it as well, or just spray paint it the color of your glitter so it doesn't look so weird looking. All right, do it. And you're just gonna pop that one in there. Screw that on. And there we go. Boom. So both of those are good to go. And I'm gonna, like I said, let the other 2 cure, but I'll show you what those look like at the end. This project was fun to do. Like I said, if I do them again, I will probably just go ahead and use the UV resin because it's easier to, well, not easier, it's quicker, well, it is easier because you don't have to mix such small amounts of epoxy. I mean, you could mix larger amounts if you're doing a bunch of them, but if you're not doing a bunch of pens, then you know, you have to mix like a small amount of epoxy, and that's kind of hard to make sure you actually measure it correctly. And if you measure too much, then you have to figure out what to do with the rest of the epoxy, and then it has to cure, and then all those other steps involved in there. I mean, you can use epoxy, but I would rather just use the UV resin because under 30 minutes I can complete at least 4. I could have completed at least 4 of the pens and just had them waiting and curing overnight a little bit. And that was including sanding and cleaning them up and letting them dry. So I would just go ahead with UV resin over epoxy, but the epoxy method was fun as well. It was just tedious. So But it's up to you on which method you would like to do. You know, I have to bring you different methods, and as you saw, both methods worked. So hopefully you'll figure out which method works best for you and just have fun doing it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, or want to see any type of video, go ahead and put it in the comments down below. If you are not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell to be notified for when I drop new videos. And if you have not already joined my Craft and Made Easy group on Facebook, go ahead and join that. I will be posting more this week and this weekend, so look out for those posts. And I think that is it. Until next time, y'all. Peace.